Hi, friends. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Katie, and welcome to Okay, But Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today we're recapping and chatting about Once Upon a Time, episode 218, Selfless, Brave and True. This episode aired on March 24th, 2013. It was written by Kalinda Vasquez and Robert Hull, and was directed by Ralph Hemmicker. Before we get into our chaos and chatting and all the fun stuff, let's get into a synopsis for the episode. In our world in 2011. On October 24th, 2011, at 8:15 a.m., August wakes up with a terrible pain in his leg. He's turning back into wood. After he tries to seek medical attention and almost ends up in a psych ward, he finds a man known as the Dragon who can help with his affliction. Magical cures don't come without a price, and after he encounters another one of the Dragon's patients, Tamara, he steals her money, but ends up losing the cure to her in the end. She had been looking for the Dragon for a long time, and now she has the proof she needs to end him. Later, we see her orchestrate her first meeting with Neil, getting her that much closer to her prize, and ending all magic for good. And in Storybrooke today, Tamara has finally come to meet up with Neil in Storybrooke, and their reunion starts a little rockily when Neil tries to tell her the truth about his history. Meanwhile, as she's shooting arrows in the woods to get out her aggression, Snow finds August, now a puppet, and living in an abandoned trailer. While she tries to convince Emma and Marco to go and find him, Regina finally comes face to face with Greg Mendel, and reveals that she knows he's really Owen, the boy from years ago. She admits that she doesn't know where his father is, and that Owen needs to give up his search. Through all of this, Tamara finds August and threatens him if he doesn't leave Storybrooke to get the cure from her apartment. But when he refuses and tries to warn the others, she stops him with the same taser she used on the Dragon. As his last act was selfless, brave, and true, Blue is able to turn him human again, but this time to a little boy who doesn't remember anything. And now, deciding to stay, Tamara decides to visit someone else in town that she knows. One Mr. Greg Mendel.
Yeah, that was a great synopsis.
Thank you. This is another one where it's like, such little happened, I felt weird leaving anything out.
Yeah, I could see that. It was definitely an interesting time.
Yeah, it was. This is an episode. This one's filler. Like, let's be honest here. This one is filler, plain and true. Like, it sets up, as we'll see the rest of the season, we'll see what it sets up, right? Especially with that last scene that we know that Greg and Tamara obviously know one another.
Oh yeah.
It's a backstory that, like, we didn't really need, kind of.
Or
it gives
wanted.
Or wanted, even less than the eggs from the dwarves. Like,
at least the eggs give me a laugh. This is just weird.
Yeah. So this one, I think one of the few saving graces, and this will give some context for my my score at the end, is just some of the one-liners. Can I read you some of the ones that I pulled out? Because
please.
Quite frankly, they make this episode so much better. So the first of the lines that I pulled out, I mean, not as funny, but still Snow going, I used Regina to kill her own mother. I don't think going back will erase that. Which is,
that's a good one.
That's fair. One of Regina's best lines, I think, to date, quite frankly. If I were you, I'd try the fish special. It's right up your alley. Blackened soul.
I wrote down blackened soul. I love Regina because it's so good.
It's so good. She's relishing in it so much.
And also, soul is such a good fish.
It's a good. That's a good to be blackened. And also, we love a good pun. Honestly, on this podcast, we love a good pun, especially a food-based one.
Isn't that all we get?
Apparently, well, yeah. For someone who spent your entire life running, you should be in better shape.
Valid.
Like, the dragon was a little spicy there. I don't know how else to phrase that.
I don't mind some spicy dragons. That's okay.
Spicy dragons are good. Again, another one of Regina's amazing one-liners when Greg says that no time has passed. It's almost as if no time has passed for her. Monthly juice cleanse does wonders for the skin. Like, because that goes back to my original question from last week's episode, in that what was her plan if Greg or Owen did stay? Clearly he would age and she wouldn't.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate? How do you explain that?
Juice cleanses
does wonders for the skin, apparently. I don't recommend juice cleanses, quite frankly. They wreak havoc on your digestive system.
Yeah, if you've got a liver, you're cleansed.
Yeah, you're good. Your body does that for you.
Did I ever tell you the story of the first time I got a massage? But it was on a cruise.
No?
We went on a cruise, and of course they have spas
Yeah.
on Carnival Cruise. And my husband was really sweet because this was before they allowed children back into things. Like, so my
Mm-hmm.
son, my daughter could go to things, but not my son. He was too
Yeah.
young. And so it didn't end up the trip we had hoped. So he booked me a massage, and the
Mm-hmm.
lady like interviews me before, and she just looks at me and goes, "So what do you do to like cleanse your body? Like, do you do any type of juice cleanse or anything like those types of cleanses?" And I was just looked at her, I was like, "I have a liver." Pure confusion on the lady's face. She's just like, "What?" I was like, "Just go on to the next question, please. I have a liver."
Yeah. That's how that works. If you have a liver,
That's
you've got kidneys, your body is pretty good at flushing out the things it needs to.
exactly. I don't think she liked my answer.
Probably not. This is the last line that I pulled out that I think you will appreciate because it goes back to something you said from the end of last season. I burdened him with the weight no child should have to bear, and I called it love.
Yep. I
Like,
like that one.
he's at least admitting that he did something wrong, that being Geppetto. He's
Yep.
admitting he should not have put a 7-year-old through a wardrobe into a land without magic with a minutes-old baby.
Yeah, let's not do that. Obviously, it didn't work out all that great. At
Clearly.
least, but the 7-year-old, but the kid gets a second chance at life.
Yeah, I still don't feel entirely great about the fact that her magic turned him back into a little boy. I know it works, obviously, for the plot. That's why they do it. But, like,
A little awkward.
why? Like, why?
It's a little awkward.
It's a little bit. Tiny bit. But it's just... so much of this episode is why, for me. It's just why.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I enjoy the whole, like, the fact that Henry just calls Charming Gramps all the time is one of my favorite things, and it gets me every single time he does it, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, he is a grandpa.
He is.
It was kind of weird with the whole, like, oh, my fiance is coming, and I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, Storybrooke's the last place you should bring her, obviously, in hindsight.
Yeah.
But I did appreciate Snow's way of processing things.
Yeah, there's something really special about Snow White shooting arrows to get at her aggression while listening to Bad Reputation by Joan Jett.
Like, that's an amazing time. I would also like to release some frustration in the same way.
I think it's a good way to do it.
I don't think I can get through an episode and not talk about the CGI.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Yeah, the CGI on August, it kind of reminded me a little bit of the quality of the animation from Barbie and the Nutcracker.
Exactly. That's actually exactly where my brain went, because we had our like Barbie movie discussions, and I remember saying like Nutcracker was one of my favorites, but like all of his CGI reminded me of that animation.
It's so bad.
It's so bad, and you can tell, like, I don't know how they did this, but you can tell it's also like a real human man body moving around, and then it's...
Yeah, I've never seen images of how they do that motion capture. I don't know, but I do love watching him try to act as if it's hard for him to sit down.
Oh god. It's a time.
He tried. I can say Ian Bailey truthfully did his best, is what I can say here. He did his best.
I thought the writing was a little weird, though, of him being like, oh, I'm starting to turn to wood. Let me go to the doctor and be like, hey, do you see this? What's happening? And I'm like, did you forget who you are?
Yeah.
Like, we established this. You're Pinocchio. How did you go? Why go to the doctor if have you forgotten who you are? Then immediately it's like, oh, wait, I'm turning to wood because I'm Pinocchio. I'm like, what the fuck's happening right here? This makes no sense.
I feel like he's probably thinking like he wants just confirmation that he's not crazy. Because like I mean he's in Phuket, Thailand. He literally, I'm sure he's been on a host of adult inebriation substances. Like,
substances.
I'm like, I honestly, like, if he thought it was a bad LSD trip, I wouldn't be shocked. So, like, I can see him wanting confirmation, even though he clearly does know that he's turning to wood since he stabs himself with the scalpel.
Yeah, it's a fun time.
It was a thing that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have many words for that. It's just like, this happened, and I watched it. And here we are.
Yeah.
It's such a weird episode. Can I go back to eggs, please?
Can we go back to eggs? Honestly, so currently, I mean, for weirdness scale, where are you putting fully wooden August against dwarf eggs.
I think it's actually worse than eggs for me because it's just so awkward how they did it. The writing is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely made some choices because, like, the whole thing with Tamara, like, before we figure out that she's actually this crazy bitch, the whole thing of, like, okay, so she's perfectly fine with, like, oh, my fiance just found out he actually has a son. Totally chill. I'm okay with this.
Mm-hmm.
He tells me fairy tale land and I freak out. Which, fine, understandable. But how is she so calm about the fact of, like, you have a long lost son who's, like, over a decade old? All right, I'm just gonna go with that. That makes sense.
To be fair, Neil didn't know either.
No, I know. It's just like I don't know how I'd feel if my husband told me, like, oh, I just found out I have a long lost son. Like, I'd have some conflicting emotions.
Yeah, no,
being
that's
in
fair.
a serious relationship, I'd be like, wait a minute,
how
do we not know about this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that one was definitely weird. At one point, don't ask me what was actually happening, but I definitely wrote, like, apparently almost halfway through this episode, what the fuck is happening? Because it's so weird. I also did see, the bowl of dragon fruit on the dragon's table.
Honestly, here's the thing is, I guess because I kind of always half watched this, I honestly never noticed that until
it's a bowl of dragon fruit.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm like, oh my god, who is this guy? The dragon. I was like, I swear, if he is Mushu, I will lose it. Like, what the fuck is this?
They never explicitly say he's Mushu. Here's the thing: he is just the dragon. He is a dragon of clearly Asian descent. We will see his full dragon form, I believe, in season 6.
Is he red?
He is red. He is a lung dragon. He has 4 legs.
He is a lung dragon, though, and I appreciate that they get that. I haven't seen it yet, but that would be correct for that area of the world because that's the fun thing about dragons. They're in almost every culture across the world in different forms, and it's the coolest thing ever. Hence my obsession.
You don't say.
You don't say.
But so I'm pretty sure they don't ever explicitly call him Mushu. I'm fairly certain. I think he's just the dragon the entire time.
Just knowing Disney.
But, like, they don't have to call him that to make it clear, like, that's who they intend him to be.
It just very much feels that he is.
Yes.
I did have my moment. It's so weird looking back at my notes after seeing the ending of the episode because I'm so angry in the moment of, like, oh my god, August, don't you fucking dare. August, you're a piece of shit. Like, being so angry and then, like, finding out more information. I'm like, all my emotions were for nothing.
Yeah. Because he does the right thing in the end.
He does the right thing in the end, and she actually ends up the crazy one.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of sitting here like, what was this? Why? Just, I'm really frustrated.
So much of this episode is, but why? I mean, we're gonna, if I remember correctly, kind of what Greg and Tamara are after in the end, I remember it feeling unsatisfying, but again, it's been a while since I watched this season, and I haven't watched the show, honestly, ever this closely. Because, like, now I'm looking for, like, new plot things to pull together. I'm looking for topics and conversation. I'm not kidding when I say that I'm watching this show far more closely and with far more detail than I ever have before. So, like,
which is so cool.
Which is fun for me, honestly, because I've been watching this show for 11 years. 12 years, however long it's been on. A long time. So when it comes to what Greg and Tamara are after, for the most part, from what I remember, it's kind of unsatisfying, and especially from Tamara's end of things, we don't ever actually get an explanation for why
I don't like that. No.
I don't remember if they tell us why she's so against magic. Greg, we obviously know why.
Yeah, I'm so scared now. I'm like, please no loose ends. I need explanations because of this episode alone, I need more information. Because I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm sorry, he's a child again now, so are we going to continue a different storyline with Pinocchio? Because he was a full-grown adult, and then Regina's very smart. Love what she's doing.
Very smart.
Like, Owen and Tamara and the ew and the what? Like, the whole time, I'm just...
The whole
time! Like, why are we doing this?
Greg, we know why he's joined this group of people that are anti-magic. That's everything to do with what happened when he was a little boy. I
She's trying to
honestly,
get magic? Like,
I don't remember what Tamara's reason behind any of this is, honestly. I really
which
don't.
tells me if you don't remember it with how much you've watched this, it must be very anticlimactic.
Exactly. So
Which
we'll
is
see that.
sad because
Yeah, we'll see that by the end of this season, which for us is, what, 3 more podcast episodes?
yes, 3 more podcast
1920.
episodes.
Yeah.
2021. I mean
Yeah,
21,
so
22. I have a brain.
it's fine. So yeah, because we do the finale special as one big episode. So it'll be 3 more weeks. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Like, honestly, like, I'm glad that you're still enjoying the show up until this point, because season 2 does feel very different from season 1. And I always say, when I think about my time watching Once Upon a Time while it was going, I think about season 3 onward, because that's when I was like deep in the fandom.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting.
2, so season 1 is interesting because obviously everything's about the curse. Season 2 has been interesting because then we go into Korra. I think that's why this episode is so weird and feels so odd, is because Korra's dead.
Yeah.
We got to the big climax and then it's like, oh wait, we got a few more episodes to go, and you're just kind of sitting here like, what are we doing?
Basically, what the rest of the season is doing is finishing up a few loose ends. Like Lacey is coming in next week. That's
okay.
Right
So
now,
excited.
Belle is still sitting in the hospital without any memories. So we'll tie that up a little bit. I mean, a little bit in Lacey, but then by the end of the season, it'll be dealt with. And really, what these last few episodes serve to do is set up season 3,
which is understandable. But like, this episode just feels
it's filler.
out of place. Yeah,
it's filler. It's all that it is. Like, because up until this point, the whole season has been about Korra, right? Korra's gone. Even the last episode still had quite a bit to do with Korra, even though she wasn't in it. It was a lot of you still using her magic. She was still being thought of. She was still involved somehow in the story, even though she's no longer on this mortal plane. So this time, it's just, now we see what happens going forward. And I will say, the way they kind of do like the next couple seasons, it won't be like this, like 4 episodes after the climax, but like before, without so much context. Because I'm trying to think, because also next season we're gonna have the beginning of the A and B arcs, because they were splitting up the show. Basically they were doing 2 storylines per season, so 3A will be one storyline and 3B will be another. So you kind of almost get like you really do get 2 crests. I mean, the best way I can think of this, and this is why I'm like, we absolutely, like, I will drag us through the mud to make sure we get to season 4, because I think it's the best usage of that A and B half story structure.
Like, season 3 seems to be where they're like, okay, let's give this a try, but they haven't gotten the hang of it yet, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Season 3, to my recollection, I'll find receipts when we get to there, because I want to see if I'm correct. I think they were doing their A and B seasons because there was an impending writer strike, and they didn't want to end middle of the season with a lot of story left.
We know plenty about those strikes.
That we do. So I think that's why they started it. And then season 4, in hindsight, having watched them again, they do feel like 2 very different halves of the seasons, but watching them, they're very much 2 sides of the same coin when it comes to the story. Like, they're focusing on 2 different types of characters, 4A being Frozen and 4B being the Queens of Darkness. But it's still 2 sides, like, there's still 2 halves of the same overall story, which is Emma's character growth throughout the entirety of the season.
Yeah, she could use some growth.
She'll get there. Season, don't look for it in season 3.
No, I won't. I'm she's not one of my favorite people right now. Like,
Emma is almost never one of my favorite. Like, I like her as a character. I like what she gives the show. But especially
she's not why I'm watching.
No, she's not why I'm watching. In season 2 onward, I say this a lot on my TikTok account. I call her a dysfunctional paragon.
Ooh.
Because a lot of a paragon, for those who don't know, is the trope of a character that is, they're your do-gooder, your center. They're usually your main character, and often what their main function is to bring out the best in those around them. That's generally what they're there for. Especially when it comes to Regina in this season, and a little bit of Snow, I would say. Emma is believing her own bullshit a little too hard. She's making the wrong decisions while claiming it's all for the greater good, and what she ends up doing is bringing out the worst in everyone around her.
Yep.
So, like, her actions alone threw Regina into Korra's arms. Like, let's be real here.
Exactly.
So,
like, I haven't been her biggest fan.
Yeah, next season's going to be interesting when it comes to Emma's character and everything. But to be fair, by the end of the first episode of season 3, I would say we have our solidified 5-man band.
I am excited for that. I'm ready for that. Because that's part of the whole thing that makes this show, in my opinion, feel
Mm-hmm.
more just feel closer
Mm-hmm.
to.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we watch Bob's Burgers. Their 5-man band is literally them.
Yeah.
It's a family of 5.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely ready for that because this is entertaining. Don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong.
Yeah.
I've really loved Cora. I think I've surprised you on what I have loved out of
Yeah.
season 2. Because
Mm-hmm.
you're like, I think you're gonna be this, this, and this, and I end up being pretty much you.
Yeah.
Which says a lot about our friendship.
A little bit. Yeah.
When we've gone from only really sending us Hannah Waddingham videos to now also sending lots of Lana as well. And I see this progressing further into our relationship as I'm introduced to all of these characters that I really want to see that you keep talking about.
Yep.
Like that's my future.
One of them comes in season 3. So, and
Finally.
I've definitely, and I can't wait. So, I remember from our, I think it was our first special, I think, when we're talking about like real person shipping, and I mentioned Lana and Rebecca Mader.
Yes.
And you said, why don't people ship that? They're right there. I cannot wait for you to see the reveal of why people don't ship those characters, because it's a good reason.
I mean, fair, but do you ship those characters?
Yeah, but also it's mostly because of Lana and Bex. Like, I ship the characters because of Lana and Bex, not because of the characters.
I just love your yeah.
Yeah. It's like, just because you probably shouldn't doesn't mean I don't at the end of the day. Like, truthfully, again, I cannot stress this enough. I ship characters that never met in canon. I don't need canon plausibility to like a ship. That's not how I operate.
I truly can't say anything where I'm over here wanting Ruby and I want my actual Beauty and the Beast, not the crap they've given me. So I understand.
Well, that was another thing about the show that I was like kind of nervous about, because I'm like, if she likes Rumble and I don't, this might get difficult. I'm so happy you don't.
Look, I am not attracted to men by choice. I like one man.
Yes.
I'm attracted to more than one, but I actually only like one singular man.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very, very small chance that I think I would have liked that combination.
Yeah.
I mean, I have Rose McGowan and him dressed as Rumpelstiltskin engraved in my brain now, kissing, and I can't get rid of it. And that's enough. I don't need any more. No, thank you. As always, I love Robert Carlyle. I do not like that costume and prosthetic. Nope, I'm good.
He does a phenomenal job. He's a phenomenal actor. The character is compelling, which is why we don't like him. However, there's something real special about watching him kiss people with the scaly mask.
As I said before, ew. No, thank you.
I was listening to our Jurassic Park episode today, and you said, when we're talking about that our next book club book is going to be on Neon Gods by Katie Robert.
My God, can I read it now?
You can if you want to.
Yay!
I haven't started it yet, but actually, I'm curious in the schedule where this is coming out. This is coming out before or after Neon Gods? I think after. This might be before.
It's still funny.
If you're listening to this on release day, you'll get the Neon Gods episode in a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Fair.
But in the Jurassic Park episode, you said it was funny that your first Katie Robert book isn't the Dragon book.
Oh, yeah.
And in it, Katie did put in the tags, because they're phenomenal. One of the tags in that one is, I only watched Once Upon a Time for the Scaly Lizard Man, which is it's an old TikTok meme.
Please, not the Scaly Lizard Man.
Because literally, what it was an old TikTok sound was like, it was like, I was like, I love this one character from Once Upon a Time. Like, oh yeah, Captain Hook, right? Yeah. The age-appropriate, conventionally attractive man. Yeah. Definitely not the Scaly Lizard Man.
And this is nothing against any of my friends who enjoy monster romance. We all have our likes and dislikes.
Yes.
Everyone is different, and that is perfectly fine. So please don't come at me, Rumpelstiltskin fans. I'm sorry.
Our dislike of Rumpelstiltskin has nothing to do with you. If you like Rumpelstiltskin, we think that is phenomenal. We really do.
It's great for you.
You found a character that you relate to and you like and you do all the fun stuff with, and that's perfectly reasonable. We like you. We don't like the character, and we find the scales kind of icky.
Look, I like Leroy. I have issues.
Which is also why when I asked you like your favorite character when you said Captain Hook, I was like, oh, I was fully prepared for it to be Leroy.
It's the guy liner.
Oh, that's fair.
Can we put guy liner on Leroy?
You're gonna see Guy Liner on Leroy in season 4. I just
No
remember that.
way.
Oh, the season 4 finale is truthfully one of my favorite finales. It's bonkers as hell.
I get Leroy and Guy Liner?
I'm fairly certain he has Guy Liner in that episode. I'm fairly certain.
My life is complete.
If not, he's just wearing a lot of black.
I'm okay with that too. Something is wrong with me. Look, my dad showed me a lot of Lord of the Rings growing up. That's all I'm going to say.
That's fair. So, do you have any more notes? Do you have any more notes for me? Because I actually do have quite a bit of fun facts for this one.
No, please, fun facts. I need something fun about this episode.
All right. So, in case you missed it, the sign that was right above August when he was collapsed in the alley after she took the potion from him is shaped like a honeypot, and it says Winnie's Pub.
I noticed the dragon fruit, but I don't notice that.
That one was really more like I only noticed it because I did the fun facts first. Fair.
Yeah, I have you started doing that more?
Yeah, because honestly, when it comes to these little Easter eggs, they're ones that I may have even missed. So I like having that ahead of time, kind of like Snow's.
It's fun,
like the hidden Mickey on like her lantern. I wouldn't have seen that, and stuff like that. So I think I said this before that Tamara does bring bagels from like an actual like reputable bagel place in New York City. So she does bring bagels from Zabar's, which I say is a respectable choice, although it's worth pointing out, for me at least. Zabar's is on 80th and Broadway on the Upper West Side. Neil's apartment, so likely where she also lives, is on the lower is in Lower Manhattan, like Lower East Side. So it's not really anywhere near where she would be. Conceivably, I could say it's okay if she were stopping there on her way out of Manhattan, but even then,
she would have direction.
She'd have to go. Well, she'd have to drive past it. But here's my thing: is she would have to specifically get on the West Side Highway versus FDR Drive, which is the big highway on the east side of the island. But she'd have to do that and then get off, and then she'd have to drive up the West Side Highway, go back, kind of back towards the center of Manhattan.
I need a map.
It's a weird place to stop if you're not already over there, in my opinion. But here's my thing: is I was looking a little too closely at the spread.
Yeah,
and like. The bagels, this is one thing I will say, because you asked me the other day how would you know if the Costco bagels you're eating are close?
Because they're delicious.
Emma and Neil very specifically have to rip the bagel.
Yes.
It means it's got a chew to it. That's what you want out of it. That's what I want out of a New York bagel. It should be chewy. There should be a bite to it.
These are so definitely okay. So I tend to get bagels at Aldi because they're really cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Those they're good. I like them. I think you would call that more a bread donut, but the ones I just got from the Costco, because it's specifically the Costco bakery ones.
Okay.
Not the branded ones. The ones Costco makes.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're 2 packs for $7, which I don't think is that bad. Because they're big too. I'm about to go get a fucking bagel, I swear. I'm trying to describe it, but no, they're nice and big, and you have to cut them yourself. They're not pre-cut. Okay, good. And they've got they're nice and chewy. And I have to I have to have a toasted bagel. So
same.
With lots of cream cheese.
Okay, my thing is I have to have a toasted bagel if it's not a fresh one. If it's a fresh bagel, just as is fine. But so it should have a bite.
Pictures of a bagel.
It's fine. It should have a bite to it. In my opinion, it should have you should have to give it a good tug to bite off of it. In my opinion. But I was looking at the stuff that she brought, and she brought also in addition to the bagels, she also brought cold cuts. I saw roast beef and turkey, but also lox, but then also stuff that I couldn't. It looked like mustard.
Only lox makes sense in that situation.
People do put deli sandwiches on bagels.
At lunch?
At lunch. I wouldn't put roast beef and turkey on a bagel if you're doing. Luckily, most of them were just eating bagels with cream cheese on it to what it looked like. Although Emma was putting something on her bagel. I could not tell what it was. I just wrote down, Emma Swan, what on God's green earth are you putting on your bagel? I couldn't tell. But I was just there's just so much is wrong with this combination of things, in my opinion. So as a New Yorker, as a self-elitist New Yorker.
Self-elitist.
I'm a bagel snob. What can I say?
Okay, so I just need you to walk into a Costco and see what their baked bagels look like.
Sounds good.
Because I can't physically show you because video doesn't do it justice.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, cool, it's a bagel. It looks like a bagel.
Yeah.
That's all I got for you.
That's fair. This episode is barely about this episode.
It truly, because it's so hard to talk about the episode.
Because there's such little happens.
Because you're also just kind of, we're both sitting here like, it's really weird and
Yeah.
not a fan, but I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, it's just so weird.
It's so weird.
Like, eggs was weird. Eggs was weird.
Eggs was weird.
That was like the beginning of the episode, and you're kind of like, okay, the dwarves came out of an egg.
Moving on. So Tamara, I haven't done her IMDb yet because I was waiting for more of a her-centric episode. Tamara is played by Seneca Martin Green, I believe is how you say her name.
She's so cool.
She's so cool. She's so pretty. She's done so much stuff. But of her most notable works, I pulled out, other than Once Upon a Time, she was actually right after Once, because it was 2012 to the end of the show, she was in The Walking Dead.
She was.
She
pretty
was,
good character, too. I liked her character in that.
Most recently, she's on Star Trek Discovery.
We've only watched so much of it because I started watching it, and then there's lots of references. And I'd be like, oh, what's this about? My husband's like, that's a reference from another Star Trek show from, the 60s. And I'm like, oh, so I'm not going to understand. So many references. I did watch a lot of The Walking Dead. So she's so good in The Walking Dead. Yeah. She's so mad, as you should be in a zombie apocalypse.
She's good at the anger acting.
She's very good with the anger. Have you watched Walking Dead?
No.
Yeah, I haven't gone back to it, but now they're creating more shows off of it that make me want to finish it. And it's a toxic trait.
Yeah. So these last two fun facts kind of go hand in hand because it involves the electrocution of August and the building in which he is. Because here's the thing. A taser, I don't care how powerful that taser is, it's not creating a strong enough current to electrocute a grown man made out of solid wood because, fun fact, wood does not conduct electricity.
Yeah, I didn't understand anything with the taser. Like, especially with the dragon. I was like, oh, so he's passed out. And they're like, oh, he's dead. I'm like, it was a taser.
He not dead.
He not dead. He can't be dead. But also, like, that wouldn't have killed August.
Yeah, because wood doesn't conduct electricity. I'll put a link to an article that I found. But, like, you need a pretty strong current to...
And tasers don't have the battery power.
They don't. It doesn't have the voltage. It doesn't have the amplitude. All the other sciencey sounding things.
Amperage.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But apparently Eddie and Adam admitted that according to the wiki, one of their biggest season 2 regrets was tasing August. As the episode was being written, they thought Tamara needed to use a real world weapon, which makes sense. So they picked a taser. Eddie explains that they figured the audience assumed it wasn't a taser, but they didn't. We're like, it's not a magical taser. It's just a taser. So fans began to give them history lessons about wood and conducting electricity.
I mean, that's such an easy Google.
It really is.
Thing.
Apparently, Eddie adds that if he could have changed it, he would have picked a glowing syringe. But also, here's the thing: is needles don't penetrate wood. So I don't really know.
No, the needle would break.
The needle, you can't inject August if he's made entirely out of wood. But
fire. There's fire.
Fire is an option. I don't know why they didn't opt for that. But this is my thing of he gets tased in the sheriff's station.
Yeah.
He walks and they go to meet him where he says to meet them. He stumbles out of town hall.
They are 2 different places.
They are 2 different buildings, and here's the kicker: is they did this on purpose. Apparently, according to the wiki, a call sheet for the episode states that the location is supposed to be the sheriff's station, yet it was set to be filmed at the Fort Langley Community Hall, which is the building that they use for Storybrooke Town Hall. They wrote down that it's supposed to be the sheriff's station, and yet they intentionally used the wrong building.
Why? To annoy us?
My guess is whatever building, because we don't see that many exteriors of the sheriff's station, and I believe we're really only going to get an exact, here's where it's situated in town. We're going to get that shot in season 4, and it kind of doesn't make any sense, but it is what it is. Yeah. It's honestly, when I see that, I'm like, it's just different than the town hall. That's all I care about. So they may just not have had an exterior. The few times we've seen the exterior, we kind of just see the door.
Yeah.
So I don't really know if they have a set in or a place in one of the towns that they use for it. So maybe they just didn't have something available that day. I don't know, but it's the fact of they even put that on the call sheet, so they knew that they were doing it on purpose and just this is their mistake constantly, is they just assume the fans won't notice, and oh boy, are they wrong.
Yeah. Oof, this fandom pays very close attention to detail.
Like, if you, like, you listeners, if you think I'm detailed, I'm nothing compared to other fans, honestly.
Which is telling me something, because dear God.
It's, because, like, the amount of times I've made videos, and someone's like, but you didn't say this, and I'm like, it's implied. Like, that I didn't say this exact thing you're thinking of? Okay, but, like, is that implied in everything else that I said? Yes.
I will say that I found out a really great way of staying away from Once Upon a Time spoilers. Just stay off TikTok.
Yeah, it's a good way to avoid them.
Because they don't show up on my Instagram, so I'm like, I'm safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they keep trying to pop up on me, and I'm like, please stop. I
Mhm.
can't.
It's just, yeah, unfortunately, TikTok just likes to do that. Well, because, like, I sent you that video after I had just watched the episode.
Mhm.
I got the video of Joan Jett playing Bad Reputation at
Immediately.
the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2015. I'm like, there is no reason for me to be getting this video other than the fact that my phone is listening to me and I just watched the episode.
Yep. It's been really weird. Social media freaks me out now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, the advertisements make sense with like the Facebook stuff, like anything
Yeah.
meta, because that's meta. They always do that. But the stuff I get sometimes, I'm like, all I did was literally mention it to my husband, not through text, like verbally.
Yeah.
Why am I getting ads for it now? They're listening to us.
They're listening to us. So, what'd you rate this episode?
Oh no. So, I don't think you assume it's high.
No, I don't.
We should go. It's a 30, right? No. So I gave. If this was a 30, you'd be like, "What is happening? Were you high?"
Honestly, yeah. At that point, I would be shocked.
Maybe this episode would be better if I were high.
You know, it might. It might, honestly.
It might. So I gave plot and character 5.
Okay.
I gave personal a 4. I gave this a 14.
Okay.
It's an episode.
It's an episode. It is an episode. I gave it plot. I gave it a 6, just because I again,
Okay.
like what we say a lot of the times, like when like we give, like either of us give a slightly higher score because we have context. I know.
Yeah, I'm sitting here like, what the fuck is happening?
I know what this is setting up. I know what's going to be set up with Tamara and Greg and all the other stuff. And honestly, it gets a 4 for character solely because of Regina's one-liners, and she's she's milking every moment. And I did love the fact that, you know, she kept the lanyard, and I wrote this down when she says to Greg like that. Like I do know why you look so familiar. Oh, and the look on his face really reminds me of like any fan at a fan convention that gets remembered by their favorite actor from a previous like time that you spoke to them. That's that smile on that face. It's like, oh, you remembered me. Like, I know what's going on in the back of his head, but that's really the only reason why this gets a 4 for character. It also gets a 4 for personal because honestly, again, it has a few moments of saving grace in that I kind of really I also gave it a 14.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. So this is my lowest rated score of the one so far, because I very intentionally needed to make sure it got below Tallahassee because I like it less than Tallahassee, and I needed to make sure the score reflected that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. Tallahassee's better than this.
Yeah, I think in my case, Tallahassee is only better by 1 point, but still.
Oh wait, what is mine? Tallahassee has a 26. Never mind. I liked Tallahassee.
You did you liked Tallahassee a lot more than I did.
I was really excited for Emma's backstory.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But it only is that much because I don't like Neil.
Yeah. But
my feelings have not changed.
No, that's just fair. Like I said, this one has some saving graces. I knew I would have fun with the rant about Zabars and the rant about the wood not conducting electricity. I did enjoy Snow White punching Geppetto for some particular reason. Like honestly, that's a worthy response. Like,
Spicy Snow is awesome.
Spicy Snow is phenomenal. Unfortunately, she doesn't stay spicy. But again, I keep going back to the season 4 finale in that we're going to see her. I'm just going to say, like, for context, season 4 finale, due to reasons, everyone's roles are kind of flipped for reasons. There's an alternate reality for good reason, not for no reason,
okay
for good reason.
This sounds fun.
So Snow and Charming all of the heroes are more villainous, all of the villains are more heroic, and you know everyone kind of gets their comeuppance and what they want and desire, and it's a great time. So you have Snow being evil Snow, and literally, I'm fairly certain they put her in Lana's costumes, but you see her just like revel in getting to pretend to throw fireballs. You see her try so hard to not do a Regina impression, but she ends up doing one anyway, and it's just so much fun to watch.
Oh, I'm excited for that because I know Lana plays like everything well.
Yeah.
Meaning she's the other end of that, and I'm like, I know she's going to do that justice as well.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. Oh my god!
Because she's
See, and I got to go through a whole season first, Lauren.
You got to go through the entirety. Okay, season 3 is worth it, in my opinion. Season 3 is bonkers.
As you said, we have to like drag through it.
Season 3 is bonkers, but season 3 is. I mean, this is my personal opinion. I'm not trying to influence you because also I know you're going to forget half this anyway by the time we get to it. Because we're not getting a season 3 until like the middle of July.
Squirrel brain.
But I've told you my reasons why I don't particularly enjoy the first half of season 3. You know the reasons why. And like, I just personally don't find it a very compelling arc. That's just also on top of all that. It's just not personally my favorite, with the exception of 3 episodes.
With the way the titles are going, I'm making the assumption it's whatever was going on with Neil, and I don't really care for Neil, so it's kind of hard to care what happened to him, but like I'm interested just to know like, okay, what happened to Neil, but at the same time, like, okay, no, let me correct that. I'm interested because I wanted to know what happened to Balefire. That's where I'm coming. Like, I don't care what happens to Neil,
and that's what I say all the time. When you ask why people like Neil, I'm like, they like Balefire, but they have a hard time separating Balefire from Neil.
I can separate the two because obviously they're two very different people, because Neil's what Balefire has grown to be. Balefire is still innocent until he's, I'm assuming, corrupted. I don't know what happens there, but I'll find out. I say corrupted, but like, you make your own choice in life, so it's more, I'm sure it's more based off the choices that he makes and the path he decides to take. Yeah,
the issue is we don't really fully see what happens between Balefire and Neil, unfortunately. We're going to get context.
Okay.
We're not going to really see that transition, because basically who he becomes when he comes to the Land Without Magic the final time, I would say is more of the choices he had to make based off of survival, is what I would say, basically. We'll see kind of what happens. We'll see what happens, because at this point I'll just tell you, because we'll get there in a few weeks.
That's fine.
The flashbacks for Second Star to the Right and Straight On to Morning is Balefire immediately after having gone through the portal, after Rumpel lets go of him, and what happens the first time he ends up in our world. Because like he said, if the Land Without Magic was his first stop, he'd be a couple hundred years old. So something
which
happens.
Tells me Neverland.
Yeah,
like that's a dead. All the titles and that are just a dead giveaway that it's Neverland because you don't age.
Exactly. Like you kind of can't say. And Second Star to the Right, Straight On to Morning. No, that has nothing to do with Peter Pan.
Nothing at all.
Nothing.
Not all the different iterations that have been of that story.
No. So
that I've seen every single one of.
Yeah, but luckily I will say the twist that comes with Peter Pan is not a twist that I initially saw coming.
Ooh, okay.
However, I still hate it.
Nope, that's valid. No explanation needed, because we don't have to like everything.
Opinions are opinions.
Look, I will forever be mad about the Beauty and the Beast choice that is this story. So, we just get to be mad, and that's okay.
Yep.
But then we get to see other fun things. So it's okay. We have Lana.
We have Lana, and soon we will have Bex. You can't see her from the window glare, but soon we will have Bex. She's there. And she's pretty.
I can't wait.
And you'll get the British accent episode.
I cannot wait for that, you guys. Like the amount that Lauren has been doing the accents, and like if I'm having a bad day, Lauren does accents. It's just, it brings joy to all of us, and now everybody will be able to have this, and it's a wonderful time.
But here's the thing, like, truthfully, do you think you can handle the voice for an entire episode? Because like the raw of these episodes, like my guess is this one's going to end up being something around the realm of 42 minutes, is my guess.
Yeah.
Ish. But the raw is much longer usually, so are you sure you can handle it, is my question.
I can handle it.
Okay. Can you stay focused
I'm
for long enough?
I am a married woman. I got this.
I love that that's your justification. I'm married. I can handle this. What does that have to do with anything?
I'm trying to validate myself. I don't know. I'm giving myself hope.
Okay. I believe in you.
At least somebody does. Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Bob's Burgers Season 5, Episode 7, Tina Taylor Soldier Spy, and Episode 8, Midday Run. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. Follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok. If you'd like to join our book club, you can find the link with more details in our show notes.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Lauren and Katie and edited by Lauren.